Hello everybody, I'm Rusty. I want to welcome you to Island Breeze Tropicals. So today we're going to be taking another look at the Bromeliad family tree, and we're going to be looking at the genus Guzmania. So you know what, the sun is shining, the island breeze is blowing, it's time that you and I got growing. Come on, let's have some fun and let's look at the genus Guzmania. So before we get going, if this is your first time here, welcome. I hope you like what you see, and if you do me a favor, hit that like button down there. And why don't you become a member of our Bromeliad family and become a subscriber? Okay, let's get to today's video. So today we're going to be taking a look at a really cool genus of Bromeliad called Guzmania. Now, if you know Bromeliads, probably one of the first Bromeliads you've ever seen was a Guzmania, and the reason is that they have been grown so much for interior scape that if you go into one of the larger box stores, this is probably the main Bromeliad that you're going to see. Now, Guzmanias, by and large, can put up with an awful lot of low light. Now, not all of them are green, but a lot are. But the other thing that makes them so good for interior scape, and I'm just going to bring this right up to you. Just look at that color. And it is the color of the inflorescence that most people buy their Guzmanias for. And inside, they just almost glow. Now, because Guzmanias are so amenable to growing indoors as a houseplant, that also means that their light requirements are not great, and they can burn fairly easily if you put them in unfiltered sunlight. So, dappled light only for these guys. Now, the last time I looked, I think there's about 139 species. That means that your plant would be growing in the wild if that's what you had, but they have been hybridized an awful lot. And I think there's well over 400 registered cultivars. Okay, so a little bit about the care of your Guzmania. Now, Guzmanias mainly need to have the substrate in here evenly moist, because as you can see, they do kind of have a tank, but they will grow a lot better if, as usual, the tank is full of water and the substrate is evenly moist. Now, when it comes to light, Guzmanias will put up with low light all day long. It doesn't seem to affect their growth, but if you grow them outside, make sure that your Guzmania doesn't get any unfiltered sunlight. They will burn. Aside from that, they're really easy to take care of. So I've got some Guzmanias that I'd love to show you. As usual, there are plenty of them at my friends at Sundance Orchids and Bromeliads in Fort Myers, Florida. Just a word, Sundance Orchids is not a paid subscriber to the channel, but they let you and I have free reign and go take a look at all of their plants. So let's go take a tour and have some fun. So this is Guzmania Patricia. Has a beautiful red inflorescence, and you can see the red bracts. Now remember that the bract is not the inflorescence, and sometimes I see where the inflorescence is incorrectly called that. The bracts are what you see starting at the bottom, working its way up, that look like they are red leaves, and in fact they are modified leaves. But the bract is not what we're looking at here. We are looking at an inflorescence, and on this Guzmania Patricia, I would say that it's pretty cool looking. Now you can see that all of these do have an inflow on them, but these inflows have not opened all the way yet, and I want to show you the different stages of inflorescence opening, because that's what you're going to be looking at when you go to buy your Guzmania. So as you can see on this Guzmania Patricia, the inflorescence has not opened completely, and this inflorescence is further along. You can see where the flower structures that are at the very end are starting to splay out a little bit. And in nature, the reason that the plant would do that on its inflow is to make it easier to get pollinators. This is Guzmania Tatiana, and like we were looking at the Patricia, you can see that the bracts are fully open now. Now I have to be honest, I have had some built-in bias about Guzmanias. They've never been my real favorite, and I think one of the reasons is that they're mainly green plants. But you know what? Just like you've heard on the channel so many times, there are exceptions to the rule, and this is called Guzmania Denise. And take a look, that is anything but green. So even if you don't have an inflorescence or your inflorescence has faded before the plant declines, my goodness, you certainly do have a nice plant. And this is the beginning of the inflorescence on Denise. And take a look. This really illustrates what bracts are. If you take a look in there, you can see that the bracts really are leaves that have modified in order to get color, and also in their size as they go up the inflorescence. They will get smaller, but take a look. You can see in this shot where some of those leaves still do have the old margination in them and also some of the color. So if you take a look right here, look at this leaf. Here is the original leaf color and see what it does. So take a look at these bracts right in here, and these are going to form the base of the inflorescence. And as the inflorescence rises, then you will have more bracts in this really, really cool orange-red color here. Now this is called Guzmania Torch, and the reason I like this one is that you can see very quickly the potential flower structures. Those are surrounded, again, not by petals, but by bracts. And you can see where they look like they're little tiny leaves, but they're red. And you can see the yellow flower structures in this. And it's just now starting to open up. So you can see the yellow flower structures there. I'm doing this very early in the morning before any customers come in. And we may not have enough light, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We certainly don't have any glare. The sun is just now coming up. So the sun is coming up on this beautiful Southwest Florida day. And I'm going to come on down here and take a look at this beautiful yellow Guzmania. Now this Guzmania does not have a name. It's an unnamed hybrid, and it simply means that it didn't make the cut because there are literally thousands of Guzmanias out there. But still, it's really, really beautiful, especially with the sun hitting it this morning. And even though this is a larger Guzmania, gotta tell you, that would make quite a statement on a patio table, don't you think? And like all Guzmanias, perfect for a low light situation, which makes them great for being indoors. And this, by the way, fittingly, is called Guzmania Optima. No big surprise on the name there. Take a look at the sizes. I'm going to try and pull on up and maybe you can get an idea. And again, it's not sitting that much higher than the floor there. It's in a little bit of a stand that raises it up maybe 3 or 4 inches. And those are 1 foot increments. Yep, Guzmania Optima, I'd say that they got the name right. Now, I really do love showing the inflorescence on these guys because they are so interesting. And you can see the bracts. Yep, that's what looks like flower petals. But we're going to come on in here and look at the center. Now the sun's shining on it, so it's a little blurred, but take a look. Those are the emerging flower structures, but they're not just at the top. Now the camera's going to get a little jerky, but if you take a look, see right here? Okay, so, but see right there, there are other flower structures that are nestled in the bracts right down in there. And this gives you a really good perspective of how big this particular Guzmania is. Again, this is Guzmania Optima. So most Guzmanias are not this big, but look at the size of this thing. And the inflow on this is absolutely spectacular. And take a look, you can see the yellow flower structures emerging, not just at the top of the inflow, but take a look down at the lower bracts, and they are splaying open, and they are making those available if there were going to be any pollinators. So anyway, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed learning about the genus Guzmania. You know, they do make good houseplants, but why just relegate them to that? Bring them out on your deck and give them the right light, and you're going to have that color no matter where you put them. So, no matter where you are, I hope your sun is shining. I hope you have an island breeze blowing. I know that you and I need to keep growing, have lots of fun. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.